I'm here with Dominic Thomas, a professor at Emory University. Dominic, I know that even though you're a professor, I know you have a big involvement with Drupal. Can you tell us a little about that?
I've been involved with developing different content management systems and that kind of thing since about 1995 when I worked with JavaScript, and it was really difficult. So since then I've been trying to work with a variety of systems. So I've worked with SharePoint, and it's a dirty word around here, but I've worked with SharePoint, and I got to Drupal in about 2003. I had just built a mentoring system from scratch in ASP, and I wanted something that was a framework and would make it a little easier to do roles, sharing, content management, all sorts of stuff like that.
So what brought you to Drupal?
I was looking at everything. So I looked at things like Typo3, I've looked at Telligent, I've looked at Mazinga. Those are expensive paid tools, and SharePoint, obviously, Mambo, Joomla, WordPress, you name it.
You've been through the gamut, it sounds like.
I'm a professor, so actually one of the things I do study is content management systems and collaboration.
Okay.
So it's of interest to me to see how these systems work and what's better or worse about the different ones. And Drupal came up during a search, and I started looking at it. I liked it. I built it into my site, I think in 2004, which was Drupal 4,
wow.
I think. So that was the first time I really used it.
Mm-hmm. And so do you see Drupal becoming more a part of the curriculum or content management systems in general?
A little bit. A little bit. Universities move slowly. Most of the computer science professors, I'm in the business school teaching information systems. Most of the people who are teaching coding are doing it with Java or C. Even they're using older languages sometimes. So when you get to something in web development where you're using PHP like Drupal, it's either a much later course and it's an elective, or it's not taught at all.
Okay.
So in my case, I bring it into a class on social media and virtual communities, where I have students learn how to do things like configure views and such, but they're not programming. They're also business students. And then you have a few schools where they actually do use Drupal, teach the programming courses with Drupal, that kind of thing.
Are you championing that cause, trying to bring it to the forefront a little bit?
I think it would be good. I think not only would it be good to bring in a language like PHP, it's important to bring in open source community. In fact, I would love to see some computer science departments, IS groups in business schools, take ownership of some of the code bases for modules and have students work on those incrementally to solve bugs, fix them. It would be an applied task they could do. They could participate directly in real activities. We know from learning theory that that will actually drive learning, and in Fusion they will remember that. And they'll be able to use it on interviews.
That's a great idea.
It's a fantastic opportunity, but they're not doing it.
Well, hopefully we can spread the word,
I'm
right?
doing it a little bit, yes.
Sure. What is one of your favorite things about Drupal, and maybe one of the things you wish you could change about it?
Starting with the change, Drupal needs better memory management, memory allocation. Sometimes you run into a white screen of death memory error, and that is fairly hard to trace. You know, what caused it? You can go back to the logs and try to figure it out, but it's difficult. There are ways to use try-catch procedures. There are ways to do memory management that can solve that problem. I would like to see those errors go away.
And they're pushing for that for Drupal 8.
It's really a critical piece. Better testing framework, better audit trail, so that you know when errors happen, how to figure them out, how to fix them.
Sure.
It's critical. On the good side, what Drupal does that, say, Joomla doesn't do, Joomla didn't get good roles and permissions until I think version 1.6. It was grafted on later, similar to the filing system in Windows, unlike Unix, where permissions are based in every file. That's critical. In Drupal, it's been there from the beginning, and what happens as a result is that the modules have always had access to a permission system, an access technique, at least one, and there can be many of them. That's why the enterprise picks up Drupal. So you've got this great code execution engine that has permissions as well as a data engine. That data layer has gotten much more robust in Drupal 7 with more abstractions so that you can use other databases. That's critical.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Dominic, for your insightful answers.
Sure.
I'm Kendall Totten at the 2011 Atlanta Drupal Business Summit.